We have public comments. Do we have anybody interested in public comments? Mr. Hicks, I believe, is that your name?
Yes.
Thank you. Please come forward. I would comment, Mr. Hicks has shared some information with us. We do not have rules that address scope for public comments, so we've decided to hear these public comments. I do believe if you stay on the comments that you have submitted, it is outside the scope of this body, as we do not determine eligibility, we do not do any other sorts of requests. So I would give you the opportunity not to make comments today. If we will take your draft comments and roll them in, if you'd like to make your comments, you certainly can. It is also the intent of certainly the chairman to, and maybe this will be a great thing for our attorney, our counsel, we will try to work on some scope of public meetings. So I just want to tell you, happy to hear your issues. I do not believe we have jurisdiction over such things, and I wanted to make sure you knew that before you went.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr.
Hopefully you have character.
Thank you.
So there's jurisdiction and there's character. So I'm going to read the remarks exactly as I provided them to you.
Thank you for doing that.
Before I haven't started yet, I'll tell you this. I appreciate the time. I appreciate Mr. Resnick and Mr. Crawford interacting with me around these topics. And, I'd be glad to, as a citizen, give any help you need in terms of understanding the importance of the First Amendment of our Constitution and the ability of people to redress grievances to their government and its bodies. So I appreciate the opportunity. Let me begin by reading my remarks. I am Chris Hicks, 444 Woodward Court, Cincinnati, Ohio. I appreciate the opportunity to address this commission at public participation time. My topic is the integrity of this commission, and particularly that of Commission Member Greg Simpson. On April 17, 2019, in the Republican Executive Committee meeting in Claremont County, Ohio, a body of which Mr. Simpson is chair and of which I am a member, Mr. Simpson discussed at some length that in his role as a member of this commission, racing interests wished to give him money that he legally could not accept. He discussed his intent to set up PACs under the Claremont County Republican Party to mask the money. He also discussed routing the money to other political candidates, masking the money and his role in securing the contributions and having it come back to the benefit of the Claremont County Republican Party via the candidates. He was, in my view, brazen. How brazen? He even mentioned that he could get money from casino interests, that even though they're not regulated by this commission, they come before it for simulcast so he could get them to pay. He was almost giddy. During his presentation, a fellow member, Nathan Schuler, actually spoke up that Mr. Simpson's plan seemed like, quote, crooked Hillary stuff. I had noticed before that our party secretary, Chris Melman, records at least some meetings. If such a recording exists, it will support my points and that I am not exaggerating in the slightest. The episode was documented in the minutes of that meeting in sanitized form, which I have provided to you. They said, Republican Club or PAC discussion. Some possible donations to the party may not be able to take due to conflicts of the party. Some donations were rejected because it became a conflict of interest due to the chairman being on the racing committee. Chairman Simpson to find out from Ethics Commission to make sure that club or PAC is okay to utilize for certain donations. Again, these minutes were highly sanitized. The actual discussion was much more direct. Mr. Simpson spoke of an overt plan to route money through PACs and candidates to hide improper contributions. As I said, I have provided a copy of those minutes. I am a person who stands for ethics and integrity, but I understand that all people and organizations have weaknesses. How they respond when those weaknesses come front and center is what reveals their character. I tend to not speak up until I see a pattern, sort of a three strikes. Mr. Simpson has a clear pattern. A political candidate, who I am prepared to name, told others and myself that Mr. Simpson offered to give him $50,000 from Racing Interest in return for that candidate endorsing Mr. Simpson for county commissioner. The candidate told me and others, not so much with an intent to be a confidant, but because they were stunned by the brazenness of the offer, and I think they wanted people to know that they had declined. Recently, it came to my attention that in 2017, Mr. Simpson inquired with the Ethics Commission about using his position then on the State Fair Board to make money. Part of their reply said, quote, specifically you have asked, can your business staff and legal counsel solicit assistance from businesses or individuals if you are personally prohibited from making the solicitation? I find it incredible that such a question was even asked. I am providing a copy of that Ethics Commission letter. That, coupled with the plot announced in the Claremont County Republican Executive Committee, plus the $50,000 offer to a candidate, is highly disturbing. Institutions such as the Racing and Casino Commission naturally should be under a microscope. Their members should be held to the highest standard. In our culture, we speak of avoiding impropriety or the appearance of impropriety. That truly should apply here. I am not familiar with the details of your governance. I believe that Mr. Simpson should resign or be removed from this commission. Participation here is a privilege in service to the people of Ohio, not for personal gain or for the gain of political cronies and allies. I ask that for the good of this commission and the people of Ohio, Mr. Simpson resign. To have openly spoken of plots to hide contributions from Racing Interest is wrong. To have offered to route contributions from those interests to a candidate in return for an endorsement is wrong. Finally, to have asked such things in 2017 in writing shows a lack of discernment to avoid impropriety or the appearance of impropriety. I do not think it wise that people on this commission also be in roles of county party chairs or be seeking elective office. Frankly, this body should ask the Attorney General for clear opinions on compatibility of office to again avoid even the appearance of impropriety. To the commissioners, don't delay, act today. Your institution of this commission is more important than any one member. For the good of the institution, Mr. Simpson should step down. If he will not, he should be removed as possible under your governance. To Mr. Simpson, you know that what I'm saying is true about the executive committee discussion and the offer of $50,000 in return for an endorsement. Own it and act with integrity now. No lies, action. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity to address the commission.
Mr. Hicks, thank you for coming, and thank you for communicating with the body beforehand. It's always just very helpful to make sure that we're all on the same terms. I think at this point, any commissioners have any questions or comments? Yeah, Mr. Pat. Commissioner Pat.
I'd like a copy of that.
I have one, but then they have the copy of what I exactly read.
Would you mind flipping as well? Of his copy.
Well, then I have.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Any other comments? At this point, I'd like to ask the Attorney General's office to talk about our jurisdiction to deal with the eligibility of members or the such.
I think you stated correctly, Mr. Chairman, that the commission, as far as the authority doesn't have it. The Ohio Ethics Commission is the agency best suited to address Mr. Hicks's concerns based on what he stated.
May I make one additional comment?
Absolutely, Mr. Hicks.
I think the citizens of Ohio are sick of swamp government, sick of hearing excuses as to why people can't act with integrity now, sick of hearing people immediately go to why we can't do anything about a situation versus look for ways to act with integrity quickly. Immediately pawn it off to some other group. Go to the Ethics Commission, go here, go there. I would ask this board, and Greg Simpson in particular, to not be that way. I think people in Ohio are sick of it. They're sick of this notion of when ethical things come to light, the first reaction, before I even spoke, the reaction is to tell me as a citizen how we can't do anything about it. No, you can do something about it. Mr. Simpson can act with integrity, and he can do it today. So thank you very much, and I apologize for being emotional with it. But I do believe enough. The citizens of Ohio are tired of the pass the buck integrity, and I think bodies like this, especially racing commission, casino interest, liquor boards, need the idea that you'd have anybody that would speak in a meeting. I mean, it's just stupid. Who would speak in a meeting with 15 people there about their plot to route money from racing interest through tax so that it wouldn't appear it was coming through them? So I appreciate the opportunity to address it.
Sure, Mr. Hicks, let me respond to that. My comments were meant and intended to tell you that we considered, based on you submitting the language, we tried to see what we could do.
Okay, I appreciate that.
So our intent was to address you and to tell you. It wasn't an outcome. It was simply, I had talked to the folks yesterday. I wanted you to be aware of that discussion.
Okay.
Once we became aware of something, we acted on it. We talked to the people we need to talk to. There's a forum for you to. Do those. Submit that type of. We would be happy to give you how to do that, what their numbers are, any way that we can go to the accrediting body. I used to be on the dental board a long time ago, and sometimes we would have someone who come in and would complain about their knee, and it wasn't that we didn't care about improper medical care, because we certainly did care about it, but we needed to make sure that governing body did that. So I do seriously appreciate your time. I appreciate you coming and bringing these things to our attention.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Item 4 is the approval of the minutes from the June 2019. It is under tab 3. I point out there's also an addendum to these amendments, which is we had public testimony, so those remarks are attached in full for that. So hearing a motion on the minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion for the minutes June 2019 meeting.
Hearing a motion and second. Any comments or thoughts? Mr. Crawford, roll call.
Chairman Waterman.
Yes.
Commissioner Hanson.
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson.
Yes.
Commissioner Patmon.
Yes.
And Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Item 11, a settlement agreement for Mr. Fred Ward. Mr. Crawford, I'll go to you, and then you decide who to turn it over to. Yes. Oh gosh, I skipped item 10. I apologize. I just skipped over it. Public comments. Do you have anybody here who have any public comments? Yes, Mr. Hicks. Again, I remind you, we try to stay on matters of jurisdiction here. Our Attorney General has advised us as such. So.
Well, the ethics and integrity of your commission is a matter of public importance. Just as a side note, since you guys, before I begin my remarks, I spent a lot of time in my life in Shanghai and Beijing, and it gets really hot. And when Commissioner Simpson asked about the heat, they have a heat index thing for construction workers. And at one time, shut down all construction in Beijing and Shanghai because the heat index went over the limit. And after that, they switched it, that now it's an official state heat index. And ever since that day, it has never gone over the number. Think about that for a second. They don't use the Weather Channel anymore. China TV, the government decides when it's over the limit. It's never gone over the limit since then, which is just a funny story.
How about their smog index?
I don't think they worry about that. I don't think that's a worry. So I appreciate you guys letting me speak. I appreciate you amending the minutes to include the remarks properly that I had made before. And so let me just get into the remarks that I'd like to make today. I am Chris Hicks of 444 Woodward Court, Cincinnati, Ohio. I appreciate the opportunity to address this commission at public participation time. At the last meeting, I addressed several items I see as cause for Mr. Simpson to step down from this commission or be removed by the appointing authority. Two events in particular were that on an April 17th, 2019, Republican Executive Committee meeting in Claremont County, Ohio, a body of which Mr. Simpson is chair and of which I am a member, Mr. Simpson discussed at some length that in his role as a member of this commission, Racing Interests wished to give him money that he could legally not accept. He discussed his intent to set up PACs under the Claremont County Republican Party to mask the money. He also discussed routing the money to other political candidates, masking the money, and his role in securing the contributions and having it come back to the benefit of the Claremont County Republican Party by the candidates. I provided minutes from that Republican Party meeting that, although sanitized, confirm my points. I also mentioned a political candidate who told myself and others that Mr. Simpson offered to give him $50,000 from Racing Interest in return for that candidate endorsing Mr. Simpson for Claremont County Commissioner. Interestingly, immediately following your last meeting, Mr. Simpson ran across the street to the Capitol for an impromptu meeting with the same elected official who had told me of the $50,000 offer. Isn't that interesting? After the meeting, I posed questions to this board. So far, none of you have answered any of these questions. So let me read them. Did the commission ask Mr. Simpson if the allegations I made were true or false? If not, why not? Did the commission ask Mr. Simpson to put any denial in writing and on the record to immediately demonstrate basic due diligence? Did he? Will he? If not, why not? Did the commission ask Mr. Simpson if there was a recording of the Claremont County Republican Executive Committee meeting of April 17, 2019? If so, did they ask that he produce it for the commission to hear? If not, why not? Did the commission ask Mr. Simpson who the candidate was that I did not name to which he offered $50,000 through Racing Interest? If not, why not? I only spoke of things of which I have personal knowledge. Did the commission ask Mr. Simpson if there are any other things, such as hidden contributions that could embarrass the commission? If not, why not? Commissioners, there is nothing keeping you from asking Mr. Simpson those questions. You won't because of a look the other way code that is bullshit. Your draft minutes stated that I asked you to take action. I did ask that Mr. Simpson resign or be removed. In fact, I stated that he should resign or step down 3 times in those remarks. I said he should be removed as soon as possible according to your governance, twice. But you only said in your minutes that I asked you to take action. Quite an understatement. Worse, you whitewashed from your minutes any hint of the substance of my remarks. That Mr. Simpson openly talks about plots to funnel Racing Interest money through PACs and candidates. Why did that not make your minutes? Notwithstanding, I appreciate the amendment that you made today to the draft minutes that you gave me yesterday. Are people here from the Office of Attorney General not familiar with the Yellow Book and meeting minute requirements? Even better, why are your meetings not on the Ohio channel so the good people of Ohio could watch this proceeding? I would think liquor, racing, and gambling are all areas that would be good to have out in the open for all to see and would benefit from an accurate recording for posterity. I said it last time and it bears repeating. Ohioans are sick of swamp self-interest in government, and they look the other way, don't ask the most basic questions culture. That is all about protecting each other and not the interest of hardworking Ohioans. Again, that's BS. Say the word. Record that in your minutes. So, yes, take action. Take action to ask Mr. Simpson the 5 questions that I posed. Get the answers on the record. Of course, Mr. Simpson could just answer the questions on his own. That works too. Better yet, he can admit that what I have said is true and step down for the good of the integrity of your commission. Thank you for giving this opportunity to talk to the commission.
Thank you, Mr. Hicks. I am sure your frustration is going to continue. The minutes are the minutes. They're approved by the AG's office. And we have amended, which if you provide written comments, we will, without editing the initial profanity, we will include those as well. We also do have a court reporter who is at every meeting. That wording that is public record as well, if you would like those at any point in time, you are entitled to have those. And once again, this is not in the jurisdiction of the appointing authority. I believe you've had contact with our office, maybe through the AG's office. I'm not sure who it's been for, the AG's office or the attorney. Proper authority is the Ethics Commission. Your comments were forwarded to the Ethics Commission. You certainly have the right to go fill out and discuss with that commission the authority and eligibility of our members. I turn it over to legal counsel if there's anything that I need to be from the AG's office, anything I am incorrect about or need to be that I misstated or.
The only thing I would add is that I believe any elections issues must go to the Elections Finance Commission rather than the Ethics.
So we have, I hope to your satisfaction, appointed you to the Ethics Commission, appointed you to the Elections Commission. We do not determine the authority or the qualifications of our own body, so thank you, sir.
May I make one additional comment?
One more.
I don't know what happens in governance that we lose our moral and ethical compasses. I've asked 5 questions that you can ask to Mr. Simpson. Mr. Simpson can address. It is ridiculous, and I think Ohioans are sick of this pass the buck, go to this other agency, get nothing done mentality, and I will see you again in August, because until those questions are answered, I'm going to keep coming here to the degree I can and re-echoing that you, the commissioners, are appointed to represent the citizens of Ohio. The allegations that I've made are serious, and this pass the buck, let's say the AG says our minutes can be okay, we can't ask basic 5 questions. What if your kids did something unethical? What kind of questions would you ask them to clear it up? There's no excuse, Mr. Chairman, for your reticence in asking the basic questions and asking Mr. Simpson to put it on the record. If what I'm saying is not true, then he can simply deny those comments in writing. Thank you.
Any other commissioners have any comments, thoughts?
I'm just not gonna just sit still for people, impugning my integrity. And yes, I've had that conversation that you speak of on a personal basis, which I would not normally divulge. But integrity is the one thing that makes this whole thing work. And to my understanding, every member on this commission that I sit on has that integrity. And will not sit still in August, all the way to next August, for the impugning of the integrity of the commission and its members. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.